Many of us live in places, I mean, mostly, not in Eretz Yisrael, where in order to go to shul on Shabbat, you have to walk through the commercial areas. And you know that the commercial areas, they're always selling. I mean, the fact that I'm going to shul doesn't matter to them. And they have windows in which they display their products. Now, can I? Can I look at the window? Is it prohibited to look at the window? So most poskim agree, as Shlomo Zalman said, that you can look at a window that's selling whatever it's selling. Clothing, appliances, furniture, because it's not true that everybody who's standing at the window and looking out is actually preparing to buy anything. And sometimes, I remember I used to pass by Saks Fifth Avenue and look at those windows. And they were kind of works of art, every window. And I certainly had no intention of buying any of the stuff that was being displayed in those windows. So it is possible to make the argument, that the window, looking at the window, does not in itself indicate that you're thinking about the weekdays and that you're planning on what you're going to do on those weekdays. Therefore, you should be careful to avoid, especially when you are thinking about the weekdays and what will be. I remember when I was a young man, actually a kid, at a certain time of the year, the World Series erupts upon the Jewish people. And sometimes the World Series coincides with Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah. And there are all these old jokes about rabbis who ensure the congregation that the results will be announced inning by inning, and they shouldn't feel that they're going to miss anything. But I remember that usually on the way home from shul, there was this appliance store with, it's all windows. And they put in a tremendous television, whatever tremendous was in those days, and speakers out into the street. So you could just stand there and watch the World Series. Okay, watching the World Series has nothing to do with buying and selling. It has nothing to do with business. It has to do with entertainment. And maybe on that, the Onik Shabbat, it's something that makes you feel good. Nevertheless, being a spectator at a sports event is not Shabbat. That's not what Shabbat is. If you could finagle it so that you're not really doing anything wrong, and then you could argue about whether looking at the World Series is like mitzvah chefzecha o daber davar, and you could even argue, as we did when I was a kid, that this is perhaps permitted. It's not really. We didn't know that much, but we knew that it was a good thing to argue about. So my suggestion is you have to try to create Shabbat. And creating Shabbat and watching sports events on television or live, if you happen to live near the stadium, is not apparently what Shabbat is about. Avoid it. Wait until Shabbat comes to an end, and then you have a chance to watch the replay.